Today you'll get to meet Advocate Capital client Lance Cooper. Hi Lance, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Mike. Good to be here.
Yeah, you bet. Well, thanks for being our customer for so many years. We really appreciate that. And I was hoping to ask you a few questions about your experience with Advocate Capital. So if you don't mind, can you tell our viewers how being an Advocate Capital client has impacted your practice?
Being an Advocate Capital client has impacted our practice because it's allowed us to practice law, and that is represent our clients in our cases without really a concern about how the cases are going to be funded. Advocate Capital has been there really in every case since the inception of our relationship, funding that case for us so that we could get the best results for our clients.
Fantastic. Well, we talk to new law firms all the time, and one of the things that they say to us at first when we first start to talk to them is, well, my clients are going to object to the pass-through of borrowing costs in the cases. Has that been your experience?
No. Clients have questions about that, and as long as you're upfront as to what the interest cost will be and how that may affect their case, but ultimately our position with them is this is going to allow us to best represent you and maximize your recovery. More often, really in every situation, they've agreed to it. We've never had a client object to including that in a provision in a contract.
Great. Well, that kind of ties into what we call the most important question that we get asked, which is, how will this impact my client? Some lawyers, when we first speak to them, think, well, adding another cost, borrowing cost to the case is going to have a negative impact on my client. What would you say to somebody if they thought that?
Well, certainly increasing costs can have a negative impact, but it really doesn't here because even though the costs are no doubt increased to a certain extent, the added value to the case of being able to focus solely on the case, be able to hire the experts you need, be able to develop the evidence you have to develop, adding value to the case ultimately means getting these resources from Advocate Capital is a good investment for our law firm, and more importantly, a good investment for our client.
Yeah, right. And we've noticed that, the average year-over-year growth for our new clients when they come in is about 14 to 16%. And they tell us it's because they can not only take more cases, but do an even better job on their existing cases by investing and being aggressive and pushing forward with the cases. So that makes sense. Well, lastly, one of the objections that we get when speaking to new potential clients is, hey, I don't need the money, right? And we tell them, well, that's good. We thought you might need money, and we don't do business with law firms that need money. But if you're speaking to a friend, they said, yeah, Advocate looks interesting, but I don't need the money. What might you tell them?
Well, if you say you don't need the money, then you're both a banker and a lawyer. And ultimately, it was our position in our previous practice, and we didn't have Advocate Capital, that didn't work because ultimately every fee that you would take in, you'd have to be concerned not only paying the expenses in that particular case, but potentially paying expenses in another case that you're advancing costs. And so this gerbil wheel we were on as far as expenses, fees, and ultimately it just frees us up from all of that so that in every case it's funded separately, and when the case resolves, not only is a settlement provided to the client, but then the fees and expenses are paid out of the settlement.
Great. Well, fantastic. Well, Lance, thanks again. We really enjoy serving you and your team, helping you get those kinds of results for your clients. We believe in what you do as a plaintiff lawyer, and we thank you so much for being our customer.
Well, Mike, thank you, and we appreciate all that you and Advocate Capital do for us, and like I said, more importantly, our clients.
Great. Thank you.